My egotistic sister-in-law invited my husband's ex to her wedding. We didn't even know that they were friends. Whoa.
How you gonna invite the ex to the wedding?
Warning, long and ranting. Throwaway because this is easily identifiable and I don't want it linked back to my main account. TLDR at the end. Background, dear husband and I have been married for 7 years. His only request for our wedding was to include the sister-in-law, mother-in-law, and father-in-law in some way. By the way, this comes from Nightmare Wedding 034, and if you want to submit your own stories, just go to r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Do it.
We'll read them for you. Sister-in-law and my brother ended up being our witnesses as we had no bridesmaids or groomsmen. I used to organize large and small scale events professionally and can work with pretty much any budget or interests. I offered to help free of charge and was ignored. Dear husband is sister-in-law's only sibling. He was not invited to participate or help in any way. Sister-in-law is in her late 40s. She has no children and is a self-absorbed hipster. Her future husband is in his late 50s with 4 grown children from a previous marriage. He is a tragic hipster, tight jeans, suede Chelsea boots, non-ironic plaid, and a man bun.
Hey. There's nothing wrong with plaid.
Oh, yeah?
As a Midwesterner, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of plaid.
And pretentious. Not my favorite person, but I'm not the one who must spend any time with him. Even my ever-polite mother-in-law finds him boring, and she could probably find something nice to say about Idi Amin. My sister-in-law is getting married this weekend. She has been planning her wedding for over a year and is getting married in the middle of nowhere in a national park. It is a half-hour drive from the closest place for a family to stay along winding tracks. It is over a 6-hour drive from our home. She does not live in this area or live close, come from this area, or have a particular need to have the event at such a remote corner of this area. It is a busy summer weekend and the area is a massive draw for tourists, so everywhere to stay has a 2-night minimum. We had accommodation sorted through my mother-in-law who wanted us to stay until mid next week and do the 6-hour drive home on my birthday. My dear husband and I have small daughters who were asked to be flower girls despite sister-in-law meeting them 4 times during their entire lives. The dresses are frankly hideous, navy blue polyester satin with an ugly bow in chartreuse, and sister-in-law requested that we buy them shoes and a floral headpiece that would cost $130 per child. Her maid of honor suggested putting it on a credit card. We can afford this kind of crap, but for shoes with laces, they are too young to be able to do them up themselves, and getting them on would be like trying to put ice skates on an octopus that they will grow out of in 3 months. Yeah, no.
Just complete waste of money.
Absolutely.
Entirely.
I found an alternative that is suitable in the right color, and she eventually tolerated. She wants her bridal party and flower girls to go down the aisle after her. Weird, but fine. Her bridal party is 5 bridesmaids, including the mother-in-law, and 4 flower girls. Future husband has 4 groomsmen. This is for a wedding with 60 guests, so 25% of the total attendees would be standing at the altar. That's really funny. That's a lot.
That is funny.
Yet somehow, dear husband doesn't get a role of any time. Not an usher, not a witness, nothing. When I heard about this, I started thinking that maybe sister-in-law was becoming something of a bridezilla. You think? You were starting to think? I know.
My brain just turned on and I've realized.
I'm slightly suspicious of this situation. Oh, Opie, so naive. Her location is a farm. Her dress code is cocktail attire. Her ceremony seating is hay bales. I love it. At this point, it's camp. And I'm now in love with the bridezilla. It's enough stupid decisions to be endearing, you know?
Yeah, I kind of feel that a little bit.
As someone with fairly severe hay allergies and a need to be able to drive, more on that later, this was going to be painful, and it would have been torturous for an 83-year-old family member or family friend who recently had a double hip replacement. When asked to provide a chair for him, the response was, it would ruin the photo. When asked if our daughters, who she demanded be at the location 2 hours earlier than anyone else, could get changed upon arrival, we were told that there wouldn't be a room available. The ceremony is mid-afternoon with drinks and nibbles served before dinner at 6:30 p.m. My children go to bed half an hour drive away at 6:45 p.m. Sister-in-law suggested that I ask them to wake up later in the morning so that they could stay for the meal. Sister-in-law has never interacted much with small children, and it shows.
It does show, doesn't it?
If these are children that are too small to lace up their own shoes,
yeah,
they have there's no negotiating what time they wake up.
They have a set schedule.
Yes, whether you like it or not. When this was rejected as an option, she suggested that my parents drive 6 hours to collect the children in the evening and take them back to our accommodation where there was not a room for them. They would not be invited to the wedding, nor would they want to come, to be honest. And everything in the area is booked out. Perhaps they could rent a camper van, the bridezilla asks. No, they were to cat sit for us at our home and celebrate a birthday with friends. The location has 6 bedrooms on site, as well as camping plots for double tents. Sister-in-law and future husband are in one room. His 2 older children and partners are in 2 rooms. His other 2 children are sharing the 4th. His mother, heavy drinker in her late 80s, and his best man, heavy drinker in his late 50s, have the 5th and 6th. It was suggested that we camp shared toilet block 100 yards away, but that the children would need to be wary of the partially concealed stream in the camping field, and that the 2 tents would not necessarily be near each other.
This is all the worst thing you could ever hear as a parent or an elderly person.
So they expect these, I'm assuming, like 2 or 3-year-olds to like be in tents that are not near each other.
Yeah, this is absurd.
Oh, this is crazy. So far, so entitled. Fine. We made our peace with showing up, having a terrible time, smiling for the mandatory photos, and never thinking about it again. Then last Friday, my sister-in-law dropped a fun bombshell in a perfunctory text. Hi there. Wanted to let you know so you weren't surprised that I invited your ex to the wedding. I forgot about the title. Oh boy. She is an important friend to me, and I hope that we all can have a good time at my wedding with fun and peace. Neither he nor I knew that his ex was a friend of the sister-in-law. She has never mentioned this person in the decade that I've known her. The ex lives a long haul flight away. This is not a last-minute thing. Dear husband has spent over 12 years trying to get past the trauma of the relationship and the damage it did to him. Oh, wow. So it's more than just an ex. This is what I'm assuming is probably like an abusive partner.
It's like
that.
The ex.
The ex. He is finally in a mentally really healthy space, and yet sister-in-law thinks that dropping this on him a week before is okay. Not okay. I went into full mama bear mode and pulled my children and myself out. My dear husband was crying, trying to figure out what was actually going on. I wrote to mother-in-law telling her that dear husband was willing to go and that we would all go to butt F nowhere as accommodation is booked, but that 3 of us would stay home and enjoy a day of exploring the area. Mother-in-law wrote back uninviting us on the entire trip. Dear husband shut down completely.
Dude,
Yikes.
Why does this family suck so bad?
There's no thinking or consideration at all. I called mother-in-law and she finally admitted that she had known the ex was coming for 6 months, but that sister-in-law had asked her not to tell us so that she could tell us in her own time. I want to throw up at that. That makes me want to throw up angrily.
In her own time.
You
mean at the worst possible time to cause the most amount of distress?
Right. But
you
also,
little monster.
it's not like this is like a partner that cheated in their relationship. Like that's something where it's like, okay, whatever, tell you in your own time. You're the one that has to do it. This is different. Your mom can definitely tell you that their terrible ex is going to show up at a wedding.
Yeah, deserve
Absolutely.
the heads up. 6 months heads up,
Yes.
probably a different situation than 1 week.
Mother-in-law didn't want to do anything to distract or ruin sister-in-law's happy day. The outcome of this nightmare is that we aren't going to the middle of nowhere, saving us 12 hours driving. We have gone completely no contact with sister-in-law and never liked future brother-in-law anyway, so definitely no loss there. And have decided not to see or communicate with mother-in-law or father-in-law for this foreseeable future. They have no other grandchildren, and I know I am being punitive by keeping them apart, but I am furious beyond words. Dear husband is distraught, and I am so angry on his behalf that I hope I never see his family again, lest I say something unpleasant. There is an update, but what are we thinking?
Yeah, I support no contact here.
Absolutely.
At the very least, with like the the sister-in-law and the brother.
Yeah.
In-law, and then the
It's such a nightmare. And for my own clarification, the sister-in-law is like OP's sister-in-law. So it's
it's her husband's actual
sister.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. If there's an ex that has that much like mental distraught and like trauma on your brother,
Yeah, your own sibling.
why would you even want to be friends with them?
Don't invite her to the freaking wedding.
Not at all. Or just don't even talk to her ever. That's crazy. But there is an update. So it has been so interesting to read the comments coming through. Just as a quick update to the comments. My husband's ex stole a huge amount of money from him and was physically, oh my gosh. Yeah, he ended up in the hospital multiple times, only to be told that as a larger man, she wasn't culpable.
Because he was a big man and she was a small woman. She can't be held liable for her beatings.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Absolutely no contact with the sister. That is unacceptable. Not even to just invite her to the wedding at this point. It's like to be in contact with her at all. The sister,
say you're best friends with this person too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. He had PTSD for years on top of anxiety, always had it, and has made amazing progress. Thought of having to see her again pulled him back to a very dark spot in his history that he had worked really hard to get past. The children are also 4-year-old twins. Yeah, very, very little children. I am a judgmental witch. I never claimed to not be. My future brother-in-law is a clown who has no money, no prospect of ever having any money, is ugly, not my opinion only,
Damn.
and has an unpleasant demeanor. So not only is he broke as heck, he's also freaking ugly as heck.
He's a broke, ugly bridge troll.
Get him,
Dang,
OP.
OP.
Get him.
Get him.
Get him. I can only imagine that my sister-in-law thinks he is good in bed, as no one I know who has met him can find any redeeming features, including mother-in-law and father-in-law.
Well, a sister-in-law sounds like
so
she
funny.
sucks, so it makes sense
Absolutely.
she'd find a partner with someone else who sucks as well.
Yeah, maybe this is just the partner that she deserves. Another answer to a commenter, is not relevant, but it is something that I find utterly distasteful when no attempt is made to curb it. I'm aware that it is an addiction, etc., but there are so many ways that it can be managed without negative impact on others. Future brother-in-law's mom starts drinking at about 9 a.m. and becomes rude and aggressive by 2 p.m., so will probably be completely sloshed by 3 p.m. when the ceremony starts. We haven't heard anything from any of the family at all, and I don't give an F about it. XO. And there is a second update.
Let's go.
The wedding happened last Saturday, and we weren't there.
Yes.
My children were a little sad, but I convinced them to dress up for a family birthday in their special shoes, nicest dresses, not the hideous bridesmaids ones, were thankfully never posted to us, and pretty headbands. They seemed happy enough. My dear husband was a bit stressed until after the time in the morning when he couldn't have made it to the venue even if he had wanted to. He ended up taking a nap at the time of the ceremony and commented afterwards that he slept through my sister's first wedding. That's like calling World War I at the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's gonna be another. I just know it.
Nobody wants to hear that.
That's so funny. I received a birthday card from mother-in-law postmarked from the area of the wedding venue. I returned it to sender. I am not interested in whatever BS she may have written, but knowing her, she will have avoided anything of note. I wish I had something more interesting to report, that they had been washed away in a flood or all been poisoned by the canapes, but I haven't heard or seen anything about the event at all. But we do have another update, so maybe that has changed.
Let's hear about it.
Let's see. So we haven't heard anything from mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, or new brother-in-law. I'm a little surprised that mother and father-in-law haven't tried to contact dear husband, as our children are their only grandchildren. Does anyone have any hypotheses as to what might happen with them? Dear husband has gone into denial or not dealing with it mode. We have busy lives anyway and are going away this weekend without the children. Thanks, mom and dad. So have plenty to keep us busy. By the way, we have plenty of episodes with stories just like this to keep you busy with entertainment. Just go to Spotify Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. We got you.
We've got you.
But there's a little bit more. We have removed sister-in-law from our wills, as she was originally a trustee for our children and an executor, as well as a beneficiary should all 4 of us pass away. Now she gets bupkis. Not particularly vindictive, as it was unlikely that she would inherit, although as a trustee, she would have been paid decently well and would have been able to embezzle a lot more should the urge have arisen. Any and all ideas for how we should proceed would be of interest. So go wild. What would your wild ideas be on how she can deal with this?
See, now this is, I was getting this sense towards the end of the story. It's like OP, like already won, has gone no contact with all these people, but now OP is like, I want more drama.
I want more.
It's like, no, you already won. Enough. It's over now.
It's over.
Let it be just over. Move on with your life. Move forward.